Solar Hunter is one of the strongest classes in the game with its variety of healing, ability damage, and then a very good one-off super, as well too as the 6-shot for PvP, and even with the infinite super you can use in super using Feast of Light. But anyway, I want to go over the Young Amakara's build here and how just absolutely incredible this build is just in any piece of content, and what I think is probably one of my favorite hunter builds just for high-end content in terms of just damage and then also add clear ability. But anyway, let's get into the build here. So you're gonna be on Gunslinger, obviously using Blade Barrage. I would use Knife Trick with this. It adds more Scorch stacks. It's a lot more helpful for getting your Trip Mine grenades back too as well. Obviously Trip Mine grenades. Aspects here, I prefer On Your Mark. One, because it gives me more fragment slots. I have some friends that prefer to use Gunpowder Gamble, but I think On Your Mark is genuinely just a lot better in terms of just making this build flow a little bit better for giving you those extra fragments. As well, it just gives you some very good passive bonuses. The next one's going to be Knock 'em Down, which is going to launch more Blade Barrage projectiles, and then also, while Radiant, Final Blows with your equipped throwing knife will fully refund your melee energy. Getting into the fragments here, this one is an absolute important one here. Powered melee attacks against combatants make you and nearby allies radiant, which will give you a 20% damage buff, and then also make all of your weapons able to stun anti-barrier champions. So very important. Next one is going to be Ember of Ashes. You apply more Scorch attacks to targets. Next one after that's going to be Ember of Resolve. Solar Grenade Final Blows cure you. This is one of the new ones they added this year, and I think it is a very, very good fragment, especially for Solar Hunter, kind of losing a little bit of that life steal that we had with Healing Wells, and this will allow you basically for every grenade killer that you get to just get a chunk of your HP back, which is great. Next one that I prefer is Ember of Searing. Defeating Scorch targets grants melee energy and creates a fire sprite. This is really nice when using in any type of weapon that has incandescent or can cause Scorch, because it'll just be able to fund you some melee energy back when you get kills on the Scorch targets. And then another one that synergizes with Scorch will be Ember of Singeing. Your class ability recharges faster when you Scorch targets. Just like the last one, instead of actually killing them, you'll be able to fund back your dodge just from scorching targets, which allows this build to flow really quick. Which, by the way, you're going to be as well using Gambler's Dodge, which will recharge your melee ability every time you dodge. Yeah, you know, like I'd assume you probably know. Now for the mods here, obviously first exotic, Young Amakara Spine ability damage grants enhanced trip mines. Now for the helmet mods here, ignore the Stasis Siphon. It's supposed to be solar. I was just messing around with stuff. So I usually use Solar Siphon with double ashes to assets so that the grenade kills give me a chunk of my super energy back for every one. For Young Amakara Spine, you're going to want to rock Firepower. Your grenade final blows create orbs of power. And then a Bolstering Detonation and Focusing Strike. These will fund energy to your class ability, which allows you to constantly keep the cycle up going by basically I think it's a 7-second internal cooldown, but you'll be able to hit your grenade, hit your melee, and then refund a portion of your dodge back, and then your dodge will refund even more from the Scorch that you're applying from both of those to kind of just keep the cycle going almost infinitely. Chest piece here, really use whatever you want. I like taking charges for those extra stacks for damage, and then just some resist mods to just get that extra resist to stack on top of my 100 resilience. For the class item here, I prefer 3 Solar Weapon Surge, just get that max damage bonus. If you really wanted to for some more survivability, you could get rid of Solar Weapon Surge and then add in Recuperation, which I think is very, very good mod as well too. Then for the class item here, I just rock 2 stacks of Bomber and then 1 Time Dilation to get me a little bit extra bump to just damage that I get from 10 seconds to 15. For weapons here, you have a variety of really anything you want to use. You could use some Wither Horde in the first slot for a little added DOT. I'd honestly prefer any weapon here that can apply Scorch. right now I'm just messing around with some raid weapons that I'm enjoying using. I think the new trace rifle from the raid is absolutely fantastic. It can get Scorch as well too, so you could add that to the build. Another good exotic that just got a buff that I think could be really useful is Prometheus Lens, because the Catalyst has Scorch on it when you defeat targets, and then also just applies Scorch from the beam itself, which will allow you to fund your dodge back, and then on kills fund melee energy back as well too. So a very good exotic, and I think people kind of sleeping on because this is very good, and trace rifles are in a fantastic place. The rest of everything is just, it's really up to you. I mean, with how everything is in season 20 right now, you could load in some void weapons to work with volatile flow, so you can get volatile rounds while still being on solar. You could use funnel web, hollow denial, and then maybe like originate, royal entry, really anything you want. I think this build allows for a lot of flexibility weapon wise because it's so focused on ability damage. Like personally, I'm just using conditional finality, the new raid exotic, because I find it super fun to use. It's really good for champions, which allows me to make this build kind of like an almost anti-champion build, since I'm able to deal with anti-barriers as well as I'm able to deal with unstops with the shotgun. But anyway, I'll go ahead and put some gameplay here at the end for you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. One last thing I kind of want to show here is just kind of how the cycle flows with the weapons here. So basically, since I don't have my grenade here, you're going to want to be hitting your melee first, then throwing the grenade to then proc the ignition off the Scorch of the melee, and then just kind of that constant cycle of just grenade, melee, grenade, dodge to get your melee back. Let me actually use my charge melee, probably a good idea. But just kind of the cycle, so you're constantly getting ability energy back, because Young Amakara's Spines works in the sense that you're getting ability energy back from doing ability, or not, you're getting grenade energy back from doing ability damage. Just kind of wanted to showcase that for maybe players who don't understand how the exotic works. But thanks guys, see you in the next one.